I'm frustrated. I created 18 plus YouTube and Twitch channels in case I ever wanted to, I don't know, just be a little bit more edgy, relax my brand safe image a bit. But I never thought I'd have to use those channels just to stream Balatro. That's right, Balatro, an indie game that uses a deck of cards and chips as your score, has been slapped with a Pegi 18 rating. Why? Because it teaches poker hands. No gambling, no violence, no questionable themes, just cards. Meanwhile, Fortnite, a game where you run around firing guns at people, is rated Pegi 12, and FIFA, with its literal gambling mechanics, is rated Pegi 3. So, here is Pegi's justification. This game teaches by way of images, information, and gameplay skills and knowledge that are used in poker. During gameplay, the player is rewarded with chips for playing certain hands. The player is able to access a list of poker hand names. As the player hovers over those poker hands, the game explains what type of cards the player would need in order to play certain hands. As the game goes on, the player becomes increasingly familiar with which hands would earn more points. Because these are hands that exist in the real world, this knowledge and skill could be transferred to a real-life game of poker. So somehow, knowing the difference between a flush and a straight is where Pegi draws the line. Make it make sense. Let's get one thing straight right away. Balatro is not a gambling simulator. It is a roguelike deck building game where you build hands to earn points. Sure, yes, the hands are loosely based on poker, but it is not real poker. The game even has hands like Flush 5, Flush House, and 5 of a kind, which don't exist in actual poker. They're made up by Balatro. And let's not forget the totally realistic moment where you slap a stone slab onto the table for 50 extra points, because obviously that's what you do in a casino, right? Balatro is not trying to mimic real-life gambling. It's a quirky, self-contained video game, and Pegi's decision to rate it 18 plus is absurd. I mean, let's be real here. Pegi's reasoning is flawed at best and intellectually dishonest at worst. When did playing cards become so taboo? I grew up, as I know a lot of people my age did, playing cards with my family. Games like Rummy and Go Fish. At school, we even had a poker club. No one was gambling. We just played for fun using Skittles instead of chips. But now the simple act of learning a poker hand is seen as corrupting. Let's also consider how embedded card games are in cultural traditions. Families play with 52 card decks all over the world, at holidays, in schools, or just for casual fun. If anything, card games teach math, logic, and social skills. Yet Pegi wants to villainize this universally loved pastime? It's baffling. Now let's question this for a second. What actually is gambling? At its core, gambling is when you pay something of value for the chance to gain or lose something of value. By that definition, are we going to get to the point where we start to call any competitive game that has stakes gambling? Think about ranked modes in video games. You play to climb ranks, gain prestige, earn rewards. If you lose, you drop ranks. There are stakes involved. Is that gambling? And here's the kicker. In Balatro, there aren't any stakes. You're not putting money or anything valuable on the line. You're just playing for a high score. I think we've definitively proven that Balatro contains no gambling, unless you count spending £10 on a video game as gambling, you know, in case you don't like it. Just like any other game you buy, ever. Pegi's stance implies that teaching poker hands is inherently harmful. But is that really worse than the blatant casino imagery in other games rated for kids? I've got some examples here. We have Sonic games. We have a Game Rant article here, which is the 7 best casino levels in Sonic games. So we've got dice. It's very gambling, you know. Craps is a dice game. Can't look at that. Oh, we got playing cards there. Big no-no. You've got pinball machines. I guess, is it pachinko? The one that's kind of similar to pinball in Japan. I'm not super familiar with that. And slots, of course. So yeah, that's Obviously, lots of gambling imagery there. How about Mario Party 4? We've got Goomba's Greedy Gala, the level, which is literally a level based on a casino. He built by Goomba because he loves gambling. The casino is this perfect place for his friends to have fun in. Goombas are in charge of the games. The main attractions here are a large roulette wheel and dice areas. The roulette wheel is in the center of the board, dividing it into 4 sections. Oh, and we've got slot machine down here as well. Animal Crossing also has slot machines. You can buy them and decorate your house with them. And I was browsing on Reddit earlier, and I saw people that had made like casino islands in Animal Crossing and that kind of thing. I think you get the point. Teaching poker hands is dangerous, but slot machines are fine. Come on. Let's talk a little bit more about gambling, because clearly not all gambling is the same. There is a spectrum. At the worst end, in my opinion, you've got slot machines, roulette, and blackjack. Pure luck. And the house always wins. These are the things that we've seen depicted in these cutesy video games before. Somewhere in the middle, you've got sports betting. You're still playing against a house of sorts, and the house will always win. Obviously, that's the point. But there's a little bit more skill in that than there is in the other forms of gambling mentioned before, because I guess you can use your knowledge to try and get somewhat of an edge. But then you've got the skill-based end of gambling. And poker, yes, there's luck, but over time, skill dominates. There is a reason that during the great Twitch gambling ban of 2022, they didn't ban poker. People are still allowed to play poker on Twitch even today because it is considered a game of skill. Now, while I'm not here to sit and defend poker, I just hope that this somewhat illustrates just how weak the link is between Balatro and bad. While Pegi is going after indie games like Balatro, it seems to turn a blind eye to actual gambling mechanics in AAA games. For example, Pokemon cards. The argument can absolutely be made that trading cards themselves are a form of gambling, but even further than that, games like the extremely popular TCG Pocket, which allow you to purchase random packs, are straight up gambling. There is no question about that. Loot boxes in FIFA are literal slot machines disguised as game mechanics. These exploit kids and rake in billions of dollars every year and go completely unregulated. Here's what Local Funk, Balatro's creator, had to say about it, and this is really great. Since Pegi gave us an 18+ rating for having evil playing cards, maybe I should add microtransactions / loot boxes / real gambling to lower that rating to a 3+, like EA Sports FC. It's hard not to question Pegi's motives here. Why are they going after a harmless indie game while giving FIFA or EA Sports Club or whatever it's called and Pokemon and countless other games a free pass? Is it because indie developers like Local Thump don't have the resources to fight back? Is it because FIFA makes billions for companies that can afford to lobby regulators? If Pegi wants to hold games accountable for harmful content, they need to start with the real culprits. Going after Balatro is a joke, and nobody is laughing.